You are now in tune to the most intriguing podcast in the universe. Hosted by the scientist Leon Marshall. Are you ready for Marshall's Melanin PODCLASS?
Listen, I am fully energized.
Class is in session.
You gonna learn today.
I found it really enlightening, like educational as well. There were a lot of things I didn't know, especially with melanin and like all the benefits of melanin. So I found that very interesting.
I love it. There's so much information, you know, it's entertaining and it's just facts after facts after facts.
This is the podcast where science is made simple and learning is fun. Welcome to Marshall's Melanin PODCLASS. Now, here's your host, the scientist Leon Marshall.
Yo, Marshall.
Yes. What's good, family? My name is Leon Marshall. You're tuned into Marshall Melanin PODCLASS. Class 23. Big up everyone who's listening right now. Large up the people in the chat.
I've been to quite a few and I've heard Leon talk at other events, and as usual you do come away learning something.
Listen, I am fully energized.
That is brilliant. It's just so informative, mind-blowing. It's something that, you know, it's just put me on a journey of knowing thyself. It's just fantastic.
Mic check. All right, family, put some ones in the chat if you can hear me clearly. Some technical issues. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. All right, there we go. All right, we're in the building now. I was thinking, what's going on? I weren't really getting a response from the family. I was thinking, what's going on with the sound? All right, sounding clear. Everyone's putting ones in the chat now. Everyone can hear me now. All right, we're here now. We're here. Yeah. Big up the family for joining. Don't know what happened there. Little technical issues. But, you know, it's to be expected. We're talking about a very important subject tonight, family. Water. Oh, my days. So I can understand why there's going to be a little bit of gremlins. For whatever reason, they don't want us to know this information. So, yeah, tonight is about water, family. Very important because we all need water to live. But what sort of water should we be drinking? All will be revealed tonight. So buckle up. Get your pens and papers ready. You're in for a good one, trust me. This sort of information they don't want people to know. Yeah? I mean, people talk about water all the time, the importance of water, how it's needed for all the biochemical reactions that happen in the body. We all know the importance of water, hydration. People talk about the importance of water all the time. But what's not talked about is melanin's involvement in water. And that's exactly what we're going to find out tonight. What does melanin do to water? Buckle up. You're probably going to learn something new about water that you've never been told before. This information seems to be quite hidden for some strange reason. I wonder why. What is the best water? Is it alkaline water? Ionized water? Bottled spring water? Or just plain old tap? What do you think, family? What water should we be drinking? Let's find out. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. All right, some people put in some answers in the chat already. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. So let's find out. Let's find out what we should be drinking. And let's start here. Before we explore the best water for melanin, before we explore what water we really should be drinking, let's first ask some simple questions. Like, what is water? What is water? Well, to keep things super simple, water is made up of two well-known elements, hydrogen and oxygen. More specifically, two hydrogen atoms bonded to one oxygen atom, hence the molecular structure of H2O. So that's how most people know what water is. Water is H2O, two hydrogens, one oxygen. And as we all should know, water is important for hydration. Water is important for all the biochemical reactions that happen inside the body. Like literally nothing in the body can function dry. Everything has to happen in some type of water, some type of liquid. So all the biochemical reactions that happen in your body, they have to happen in water. It keeps us hydrated. It keeps things moving along the digestive tract. But is there more to water than that? Let's get spiritual for a sec. Let's ask some more questions. Let's get deep. Can we ask some deep questions tonight? We all know the importance of water, but let's get a little bit spiritual and ask some deep questions. Like, what if water is God?
What if water is God?
Then that would mean God is both in us and all around us. That God is both above and below us. Why a woman's water breaks when we're born, and why some religions observe the ritual of baptism. But if water was God, then that would mean that God has no gender. That God takes the shape of whatever container God appears in, which would explain why we have so many different belief systems. Which begs the question, what is the spiritual significance of poisoning the water in Flint, Michigan? Or the oil burning in the Gulf of Mexico? Or the large islands of garbage floating in the Pacific Ocean? If God was water, would that not mean that every natural place is holy? That every thunderstorm was a church without walls? That when the rain falls, it's an act of God's death giving life, and when it evaporates again, it's the day of resurrection? And life itself was just a test of learning how to be and flow like water, how to give life to other people, and how to refresh their spirits and quench their thirst with your presence.
What does the family think of that? What if water is God? Is water God? Carol says water is purity, water is energy. Yeah, but is water God? Now, this was a video that went viral on social media last year, and you know, a lot of people saw it, a lot of people were commenting on it, a lot of people were agreeing with what the brother was saying. You know, they liked what he was saying. They kind of, you know, they were kind of understood where he was coming from. And I found it interesting because many believe that, I don't know if you guys have heard of the term, the God particle. Many believe that melanin is the God particle. I think there might be a book with this title. And I think there's even a film, like a documentary with this title, Melanin, the God particle. So if water is God, just think for a second, if water, they're associating that with God, and melanin is the God's particle, the God particle, is there a spiritual link between the both of them? Is there a link between melanin and water? Let's explore. Now, to understand the relationship between water and melanin, you'll need to have a basic understanding of what water is, which we've just gone over, and what melanin is. Now, the best place to get that information is from my debut book, The Hidden Science of Melanin, where I reference scientists from all over the world that have done extensive research on melanin and published their scientific studies. Here's what the scientists all agree on. So I'm hoping everyone can see the screen. Here's what the scientists all agree on when it comes to melanin. What is it? Many scientists believe that melanin is the chemical key to life. The chemical key to life. Its chemical structure allows no energy to escape. It's the perfect absorber of light and all energy frequencies. Melanin is abundantly present in the inception of life. There is a melanin sheath covering both sperm and egg. It's found in almost every organ of the body. It converts light energy from the sun to sound and back again to light energy. Melanin responds to and absorbs light, sound in the form of music, and electrical energy, and uses this energy in the body for food and nutrition. Now, again, this is what the scientists have been saying. This is what I've referenced in my book. Like, I've referenced scientists from all over the world, and this is what they agree on. So this is not Leon Marshall's opinion. This isn't, when it comes to melanin, I don't like to be opinion-based. I like to be science-based. So this is what the scientists say melanin can do. The scientists that have done the research, the ones that have, you know, had melanin in the laboratories and under a microscope. This is what they say melanin can do. Now, I made sure that my book was science-based and not opinion-based. And one of the reasons why I did that is just so people wouldn't dispute the information. I made sure I referenced scientists from all over the world so people weren't saying things like, oh, you're just referencing Black people. Obviously, Black scientists, they're going to say this. No, I reference people from all over the world to ensure that the information was accurate. Now, one of the scientists that I mentioned in the book is this guy. His name is Dr. Arturo Solis Herrera. And this is what he says about melanin. He said that melanin is to the animal kingdom what chlorophyll is to the plant kingdom. Mexican researcher Dr. Arturo Solis Herrera, a medical surgeon, ophthalmologist, and pharmacologist, called melanin a super chlorophyll due to its many advantages over regular chlorophyll, a super chlorophyll. He says it exists in many tissues besides the skin, is present in developing fetus, and he actually wrote a book about it called The Human Photosynthesis. Now, I've read this book, and when I first found out about this and read this book, I found it quite fascinating. I remember thinking, hold on a second, wait a minute, the human photosynthesis. The human photosynthesis. When I read this, I was like, hold on. Because essentially what he's saying is that melanin can do what chlorophyll can do. So what chlorophyll does in plants, melanin does in humans. Really? Now let's remind ourselves of what chlorophyll does in plants. So everyone was taught this at school. This is photosynthesis. This is the process of photosynthesis. Everyone all over the world is taught this process. Why? Because it's so important to life. This process is so important to life, not just the plant's life, but our life as well. Why? Because we breathe in what the plants breathe out, and we breathe out what the plants breathe in. Isn't that fascinating? So what do we breathe in? We breathe in oxygen, and we breathe out carbon dioxide. The plants breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. Yeah. So let's remember what photosynthesis is. Photosynthesis occurs when the plant absorbs sunlight and utilizes carbon dioxide and water to produce glucose and oxygen. The glucose is used by the plant for energy, and the oxygen is released into the air. The plants literally breathe out what we breathe in, and we do the same. The same perfect, beautiful synergy. Of course, yeah. It's like a symbiotic relationship between us and the plants. You give me what I need, and I'll give you what you need. Like a business transaction. Now, if melanin is truly the human photosynthesis, this would mean that melanin can do this process too. This process that you're looking at, photosynthesis. turning sunlight energy and carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. Can melanin do that? If melanin can perform photosynthesis, that would mean that black people are literally plants. Are black people plants? No, of course not. Black people are not plants. However, we do bear some similarities to plants, don't we? There are quite a few similarities between us and plants, isn't there? We are very similar. The biggest similarity is the fact that we both rely on sunlight and water to survive. Yes, sunlight and water. I've mentioned numerous times in this podcast how sunlight is the #1 fuel source for melanin, despite all the negative sun propaganda we receive year in and year out. Yeah. So we do have similarities. We both rely on sunlight and water, and we both have a pigment that's involved in some type of process where it absorbs the sunlight and then something happens internally. We need sunlight and water to grow just like the plants need it. And what's interesting is our melanin does something to the water that, according to the science industry, only plants should be capable of doing. Listen to this.
My brothers and sisters, you gotta stop scrolling for this one. This is crazy, y'all. Bear with me. All right. So we all know this cycle, right? So we exhale carbon dioxide, and the plants utilize carbon dioxide and energy from the sun to create oxygen for us to inhale. So y'all, oxygen is created by basically the plants using chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is also what gives plants their green pigment, okay? Stay with me. So chlorophyll basically captures energy from the sun, right? And uses that energy to break down H2O, water, into O2, oxygen gas. That's like one of the first stages of photosynthesis. So that basically means that chlorophyll can turn light energy into chemical energy by means of water dissociation. Do y'all know what else can do that? Let me read y'all a little something real quick. Follow me. To date, chlorophyll was considered the only one biological molecule capable of carrying out such a transformation, this transformation. But now that melanin makes its appearance as bioenergetic molecule of first order, the old paradigm of chlorophyll is broken into 1,000 pieces. Not only can melanin take water and break it down into hydrogen and oxygen, but it can literally take hydrogen and oxygen and make water. You see that? That means it's reversible, and chlorophyll can't even do that, y'all. And at this point, you're probably like, okay, Mina, what does that mean? So this means, y'all, basically this entire time, they've only been telling us, or maybe they've only known that melanin has been protecting us from the sun. But not only does it protect us from the sun, but it uses the sun's energy, that light energy, transforms it into chemical energy by means of water dissociation. And not only that, guys, but through this entire process, it's giving us, we are creating oxygen. Like this whole time, we've been thinking that we've only been getting oxygen from the trees and the plants, but our melanin is creating oxygen. And what's so important about oxygen? We need it to live.
Wow. So that was a lady on TikTok. It's funny what you find on TikTok, boy. A lot of people are just dancing and doing all types of foolishness on TikTok, but there are some young people that are doing some research. So yeah, this lady on TikTok was like, hold on a second. That thing that chlorophyll can do, which is splitting the water molecule. When she says water dissociation, she just means splitting the water molecule. Yeah, because if you read my book, you know I talk about the scientific jargon. They always use these terms to try and confuse us. So in science, there's a term called water dissociation, which means splitting the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen, because we know that water is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom. Well, chlorophyll, the first step in photosynthesis is water dissociation. That is the first step in photosynthesis. And again, family, if you're taking notes, take a note of this. Water dissociation means splitting the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, she goes on to say that, well, the oxygen is, we need it to live. And yes, we do. So when the water molecule is split by chlorophyll, it releases oxygen. You know why it releases oxygen? Because it doesn't need it. The plants don't need oxygen. Oxygen is like a byproduct. It needs the hydrogen for energy. It needs the hydrogen. It utilizes hydrogen for energy. Why is this important? Well, if you did some research on hydrogen, you'll realize that hydrogen is probably the most abundant element in the universe, and it can be utilized for free energy. So people use hydrogen to create energy. So when the plant splits the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen, it takes what it needs, the hydrogen for energy, and then releases the oxygen. Yeah. And then what this sis is saying is we take in the oxygen and we can then reform it with the hydrogen inside of us. I don't even think people understand how big that is. So let me see if I can break this down, because I know there's young people that sometimes watch this podcast. I'm going to try and break this down so everyone can understand it. Splitting the water molecule is huge. To this date, like they use electrolysis machines to do this. You know, ionizing machines, a lot of energy, a lot of electricity. They have to flow through water to do this mechanically. Yeah. And according to new research, not only chlorophyll can do this, but melanin. So splitting the water molecule. So let's see if people understand this. Water is made up of H2O, 2 hydrogens and bonded to 1 oxygen atom. Chlorophyll can split the water molecule this way. In other words, it can take H2O and break it up into hydrogen and oxygen. Melanin can split the molecule, the water molecule, this way and reattach it this way. Now, why is that so powerful? Because when you reattach it, that's like re-upping on your energy. That's like going back and getting more fuel. Because when you break it up, whatever the hydrogen's used for, that's it. The hydrogen's now used up and that's the energy gone. But if melanin can then reform that, that's like an on-off switch. That's like recharging a battery. That is big news, family. Big, big news. And again, I like to keep it super, super simple. So again, I know some of you watch this with your children. I'm hoping your children, if you've got young people, anyone under 18, or even anyone under 21, when we finish this, when I finish my slides, raise your hand and tell me that you understand this splitting of the water molecule. So again, let's break it down. Hydrogen and oxygen bond together to form water. And this plant utilizes the hydrogen. So it doesn't need the oxygen. So it splits the water molecule and utilizes the hydrogen for energy. And what our melanin can do is reform it. So that's like a rechargeable battery. I hope the family gets that. I'm going to ask some people to raise their hand later and see if they get that. But that's basically what water dissociation is. It's splitting the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. And again, a lot of people think, yeah, oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. Oxygen is not really the star of the show. We need oxygen just so it can bind to hydrogen. That's why we need oxygen. Because hydrogen is the star of the show. Hydrogen is what biochemicals use for energy, biochemical cells and that use for energy. But let's move on. Let's move on. And like I said, in the science community, they are trying to do this mechanically. So in order for them to split the water molecule, they use these electrolysis machines. I talk about this in my melanin book. They use these electrolysis machines and run enough electricity through them to try and split the water molecule. In other words, it requires a lot of energy. It's not very efficient neither. It requires a lot of energy and it doesn't produce a lot of hydrogen. So it splits it, but doesn't give them a lot of hydrogen. The only thing that can do this, well, the only two things that can do this, known to man on this planet, the only two things that can split the water molecule effectively, efficiently, without utilizing so much energy and getting enough energy back, is chlorophyll and melanin. And again, I break this down in my debut book. There's actually a chapter in my book. There's actually a chapter in my book dedicated to water and melanin, and it goes through all of this in detail. So chlorophyll, which you could argue is the plant's melanin, and our melanin are the only two things known to man, only two natural biochemicals in this universe known to man that can split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. So chlorophyll and melanin are capable of changing the structure, the biochemical structure of water. So we know it as H2O, but what it does when it splits it and when melanin reforms it, it can change the chemical structure from H2O to what they call H3O2, which in science is called structured water. So melanin is capable of changing the structure of water. Instead of it being H2O, it's actually H3O2, which in science is called structured water. And this is why the best water to drink, in my opinion, would be structured water from plants. It just makes sense due to the similarities between our melanin and the plant's melanin, which is chlorophyll. Now, not to get too scientific, but the main thing that structures water, especially inside of the plant, is sunlight. So if sunlight structures the water, the internal water of plants, then wouldn't that be the best type of water to drink? Think about it. Yeah. So people talking about juicing, that would be the best way to get the structured water from plants. And when I say plants, yeah, I'm showing you chlorophyll because we understand the importance of chlorophyll with regards to splitting the water molecule. But chlorophyll is just one pigment. Plants have many pigments. That's the reason why you see all of these different colors in nature. Plants have many pigments. So if we say we're going to get our water from plants, it's not just going to be from green juicing or green vegetables, is it? It's going to be from all the colors you see in nature. That's where we should be getting our water from, family. From all the different colors we see in nature. Those are structured water from plants. Yep, veg, people saying veg, but fruits as well. Fruits and vegetables. Anything, any water that comes from a plant. Someone said in the chat, coconut water. Yeah, that's from a plant. So the water that's inside the coconut. Yeah. And to be fair, like I've been listening to a lot of people, but no one exemplifies this theory. And I wouldn't even call it a theory. It just makes sense. But no one exemplifies this more than listening to this guy, Dr. Aris Latam. Family, do you know who this is? Dr. Aris Latam. For those who don't know this man, he is 75 or 76 years old, something like that. He might even be 77 now. Yeah. 75, 76 or 77 years old. And he's a raw food gourmet chef. I love how he talks about this stuff because he says, one, he says he's not into raw food. He calls it sun-fired food. So this food is fired up by the sun. I agree. Instead of calling it raw food, we should call it raw food. Raw food, food from the sun, fired up by the sun. The sun is preparing our food for us. Yeah. So he's a gourmet chef in raw food, sun-fired food. who hasn't eaten any cooked food or drank any plain water in over 47 years. He hasn't eaten any cooked food or drank any plain water in over 47 years. He just lives off of eating living foods from plants and drinking living water from plants. Now check this video out. And before I play it, just look at all the plant water sitting on his table. Just look, yeah? He's actually showing you where he gets his water from. So you can see he's getting it from not just the fruits. You can see the fruits at the back there, watermelon, pineapple, you know, lemons, kiwis, all that, melons, all of that stuff. Yeah, he juices carrots and beets and all that sort of stuff as well. And then look at, he's even showing you the juice that's coming out of vegetables as well. Notice that there's not as much. Notice that there's starch in there as well. So he's just showing you that the best place to juice then, the best place to get your water is from high moisture fruits, because he's showing you, look, the vegetables, they're not producing that much juice. But according to him, even that is just the best water to drink. We're looking at this and a lot of us will look at it and just think, oh, that's juice. No, it's water. This is water, what he's showing us. It's water from a plant. It's water from plants, yeah? And I love how he breaks it down. He says things like the water in cucumber is water. It's cucumber flavored water. The water in apples is water. It's apple flavored water. The water in coconuts is water. It's coconut flavored water. Now, looking at that, just look at his table. Wouldn't it just make sense that this is the type of water that we should be drinking? Just using logic, wouldn't it make sense that the water we should be drinking should come from a plant and not from a tap or a plastic bottle or an electrolysis machine? Sometimes we don't even have to use science to make it make sense. Like, what makes logical sense to you? Listen.
Well, you know, my body has a limited capacity of what I can put into it. So I want to put maximum value. Water is empty. As we know it, the water that we're talking about and everybody talks about is empty, it's blank, and it hydrates. That's good. But my water needs to do a whole lot more than that. So I reach for higher heights. You know, I reach for higher heights. This is my water source right here. Coconut water. Living water, straight from life, straight from nature. So this water has more electrolytes than anything else on the planet. It hydrates, it has potassium, it has loads of minerals. Of course, it has 10% sugar, all the sugar my body needs. So I use it in the morning. This is the first thing, my inner shower with coconut water. Take a little noni juice, or you know, it has the duppy sour salt, and that's it. But I do drink water, but it has to come from a plant source, not from the ground.
I hope that makes sense, family. I hope that makes sense. And again, raise your hand later if you want to ask questions on this, because science is simple. It's logic backed up by evidence. Like, some people might say, no, man, we need to be drinking, you know, alkaline water and, you know, machine Cajun water or, you know, spring water and all that sort of stuff. Like, yeah. Let's talk about it, family. Let's talk about it. But here's another video. So I found this video on YouTube. This was recently. I think this was the end of last year or something like that. But he was on a podcast. These two guys, they do a podcast on YouTube, and he was on their podcast. And in this video, he simplifies it even more. Like, listen to this one.
When I'm talking about water, I'm not talking about water as most people refer water to water. I'm talking about plant water. Water that comes from the plants. Some people may call them juice, but they're still water. You know, we got a wonderful food that people call a watermelon. It is a melon flavored water. So I don't drink water as you know it for 40 years now. I'm drinking living water. Wow. I'm drinking water that comes from the plants. My water needs to be filtered by the plants, not by a man-made plant. You know, a water filter.
Did you catch that? My guy said, my water needs to be filtered by the plants, not a man-made plant. Let's go again.
When I'm talking about water, I'm not talking watermelon. It is a melon flavored water. So I don't drink water as you know it for 40 years now. I'm drinking living water. I'm drinking water that comes from the plants. My water needs to be filtered by the plants, not by a man-made plant, you know, a water filtration system, you know, not by ionization, reverse osmosis, alkalinization. No, the trees, the plants filter my water. So we have something like, say, a coconut tree. That's why I'm living where coconuts grow. Look, if coconuts can't grow in New York City, neither can I. I got to live where coconuts grow because coconut water is my primary water source. The coconut tree is a spring. It's a spring that's tapped into the earth. As it is above, so it is below. If that coconut tree is 100 feet tall, it's 100 feet deep down into the earth, pulling water out of the earth. But let's come back to what most people know more about, the watermelon. The watermelon, that watermelon vine is a hose. It's a hose that's tapped into an underground spring. The roots of the vine of the watermelon taps into a spring that are underground and are pumping water out of the earth, spring water, and packaging it in these big, beautiful 2-gallon, 3-gallon bottles that we call watermelon. This is packaged water.
Packaged water.
Watermelon is packaged water.
There you
bottled
go.
Water.
I love that. He says a watermelon is packaged water. You want to drink bottled water, there's no better bottled water than a watermelon. It's bottled up for you. It's packaged up for you. Yeah. It is water. That is water. Now, to me, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. And it seems like the simplicity of it is starting to get through to the younger generation as well. You go on TikTok and young people are starting to put 2 and 2 together. Listen.
Yo, so I was eating this watermelon and I figured, let me tell y'all the truth about water. So as humans, we need to stay hydrated, right? We need to stay hydrated, but that doesn't mean we need to drink H2O. Let me explain. All right, as humans, we supposed to be hydrated by H3O2. Okay, y'all can pause this and read it. All right, I want y'all to think natural here. I want y'all to think primal. If man never invented anything and we was living off the land, how would we be drinking water? We don't got a tongue to lap water into our mouths like the rest of the animals do. We not on all fours to lean over into a pond and, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we are upright beings. We supposed to be eating fruit. Our tongue is not made to lap water into our mouths. We cannot drink the water that they told us to drink, H2O. We can't even drink it without a cup, without a glass, without our hands. Naturally, we are not supposed to be drinking H2O. We bathe in H2O. All right, pause this and look at it. Look how incomplete of a structure H2O is. It's so incomplete, we're not supposed to be digesting it. When we put it in our body, it has to combine to another hydrogen molecule for us to even be compared to H3O2. A literal complete structure. All right, let me show you. All right, pause the video and examine this. All right, it is literally the difference between structured water and unstructured water. Unstructured water is what I just showed you, H2O. Structured water is H3O2. Look at what unstructured does to the toxins and pollutants in your body. Absolutely nothing. It just lets it run rampant. But look at what H3O2 does, the water you get from fruit. Literally heals your body. It traps all of them. But doesn't it just, before you say I'm wrong, doesn't it just sound right for fruit, something that comes from the earth, to naturally heal you, to trap the pollutants in your body? Doesn't that just sound right? I don't know. I ain't a scientist, man. But I know what the fuck I'm gonna get my water from. You with me?
Hey, I said, I'm not a scientist, man, but I know where I'm getting my water from. Well, listen, I am. And listen, I'm there with you, fam. The young people starting to put 2 and 2 together. You understand? It just makes sense. You don't even need the science. Drop the science and just ask yourself, what makes sense? Where should we be getting our water from? Should we be going to the supermarket and buying it out of a plastic bottle? That plastic bottle is made of xenoestrogens that mess up our hormones, especially black women's hormones, leading to fibroids and PCOS and all that? Or should we allow the plants to filter our water? What makes logical sense? Like, I love seeing the young people getting it. I love seeing the young people putting 2 and 2 together. My guy said, I ain't no scientist, man, but I know where I'm going to get my water from. Yeah. But let me see what the family's saying, man. Let me stop this and see what the family's saying. Raise your hand if you want to go live. I can see quite a few hands up now, but that might have been by mistake. So let me see. Let me come out of this. All right. So raise your hand if you want to go live. There's a few hands. Let me see. Kizzy. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let's see what the family's got to say about this subject. And let me know what type of water you drink as well. Kizzy, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Kizzy.
Hello.
How you doing, Kizzy? You okay?
Good.
Did you learn something new tonight?
Yep. All about me.
All about you. Yeah. So what type of water do you drink? Let me know what type of water you drink. What type of water do you drink?
Bottled water.
Yeah.
And we have a juicer, so juiced water.
You have a juicer, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And what type of drinks do you make? What type of juices do you make?
Well, we haven't used it in a long time, but we've made like blueberry and like apple, orange, lots of combined mixtures.
Well, here's the thing. Hopefully, after hearing what you just heard, hopefully you guys will start using the juicer a little bit more. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's where you want to be getting your water from those blueberries, from those apples, from the oranges, pineapple, watermelon. That's the best juice for your body. Do you understand that?
Yep.
All right. Do you have any questions or?
Iron.
Any questions?
No.
All right, Kizzy. Thanks for calling in, yeah? But yeah, dust off that juicer and start using it on a regular basis, yeah? All right, take care.
Yeah, the storage cupboard.
Thank you.
All right. Large up the young people listening in. All right, let's see who else. Jenny's got you got your hand raised. I don't know if that was by accident. Anita, you've got your hand raised. Kenya Sue, hand raised, and Heather. Whoever can find their mic first. Kenya Sue.
It's Kenya Sue. Greetings, Brother Leon.
Greetings.
So, sorry, I posted the question earlier on when you were talking, so of course you can't do everything. So does it help to consume black food products, including seeds?
You say black food products?
Fruit or product, the more melanin you're going to produce, especially if you're living in the UK like we do, and you get limited sunlight.
So you're saying what type of food products? Say that again.
I said, does it help to consume black food products, including seeds?
Are you saying black food products? Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, like plums.
Okay. Yeah.
Grapes with seeds in, you know.
Yeah. Darker pigmented
Darker
food.
melanated,
Yeah.
you know, melanated vegetables.
Yes.
And also seeds like cumin, not cumin, sorry, black seed and that kind of thing.
Good question. All right, so let me start with the first one. So the darker pigmented foods are amazing for us. They're high in antioxidants. So you're looking for your black grapes or your
with seeds in though, with seeds in, not the
yeah. Most definitely, always go for the seeds because we're talking about real food here. If it hasn't got a seed in it, it's not a fruit. If it hasn't got a seed in it, you can't even call it a food. These days we're eating foods that we think are foods and they're not foods. If you open up an apple and there's no seeds in it, that's not an apple. If you open up a grape and there's no seeds in it, that's not a grape. That's what we need to understand about how they're trying to change the food around us. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing that for decades, so haven't they?
Yeah, but because they've been doing it for decades, they're getting really good at it now. They've done a lot of trial and error and they're getting really good at it now. So these days,
Monsanto especially, yeah?
Yeah. These days you go like watermelon, for example. Oh my gosh. Like I follow a lot of people that are into, you know, the health movement, like Dr. Aris Latam and some other people as well. And I always see when they open up the watermelon, I always inspect it. But when I see people on Instagram and other social medias open up watermelons and then they open it and I don't see any seeds, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? That's not a watermelon. Do you understand? We got to be consuming things with seeds in it, and the watermelon seeds really should be black. I see a lot of people open up watermelon and the watermelon seeds are white and small, and I'm
Yes.
like, what is this? What is
Yeah.
this? But yeah, so to answer your question, the darker pigmented foods are amazing for us. Like Tupac said, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. We're getting more juice out of those, darker pigmented foods. So yes, you want to be getting in your blackberries, your blueberries, your dark grapes, your purple grapes. Even kale can come in purple. You can get kale in purple and all that sort of stuff, the darker things. But again, we need a wide variety. We don't just want to consume the darker pigmented foods. We need the yellows, we need the reds, we need the greens, we need all of it, because all of
So we
it
need
helps.
a balance of everything then,
That's
yeah?
right. That's right. And to answer
what
your
about-
second question, the seeds now.
Mm.
Now, again, if we're eating real food, and that same clip that I showed of Dr. Aris Latam, he actually says this in that full video, if you can find it on YouTube. He says, when you open up a watermelon and you see the seeds in them, you see enough seeds in them, each one of those seeds you plant it and it creates another, couple watermelons. And you can do that with everything. So the seeds of anything that you've got, you plant just one of them and it should recreate that tree.
Yeah.
And blossom those fruits. So that's the power of seeds. So really, we should be planting the seeds. However, there are some good seeds for healing that's got some good, powerful healing properties, like papaya seeds. Papaya seeds are very good at getting rid of parasites and cleansing the colon. So for anyone who's suffering with that, consume some papaya seeds. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that as well. And I'm a bit concerned about the cucumber. The cucumbers that I've seen, and when you open them up, some of them haven't got hardly any seeds in them.
Yeah, well, I don't know what we're consuming with regards to cucumbers, because cucumbers, they're supposed to have seeds in them.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but these days you open up a cucumber, there's no seeds in it. So yeah, I don't know what we're consuming. We just need to be careful, and we just need to be mindful of what we're actually consuming and understand that, yeah, fruits should have seeds. It's just as simple as that. Fruits should have seeds.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sis. All right, who else? If I've allowed you to talk, you can unmute your mic. Let's see who wants to come next.
Hey, Leon. Hi.
Greetings, sis.
Hi.
How are you?
Right? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks again. Good, brilliant recap, and lots of new stuff as well. I hadn't seen Aris Latam before, so grateful for that. And lovely to see the youth talking the things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so juice. I do juice. I need a better juicer. But yeah, I manage with what I've got at the minute, and I blend stuff as well. But I also use in the water, I use a sort of filter, a bitter filter, and I put elite shungite in. Is that helpful? I'm not saying as a replacement to naturally filtered water from plants, but is that a helpful thing or a useful thing to do?
Yeah, so a lot of people who filter their water, they'll filter it and put shungite in it. Yeah, that's a good idea. And a lot of people always ask me, does the shungite structure the water? To be fair, I'm not too sure. Because from my experience and from my research, the only things that structure water really is sunlight, infrared light from the sun, and yeah, melanin. Those are literally the only two things. So and shungite is carbon, so maybe shungite can do it, but I'm not too sure. So yeah, for people who do have the shungite and filter in the water, it's not going to harm you. It's probably going to purify it a little bit better than not putting it in there. But I don't know if it structures it. I don't know if it structures the water.
Okay. And another thing, if you leave, if you like making up a jug of water, I did Benna's Eating for Health workshop, and she had a big jug and then just put in loads of mint in there, cucumber, and there was something else, and lime, and just left that, and the taste of the water, it was just so much tastier. And it's the same as juicing, but if you don't have a juicer, or you didn't get the right veg in that day or whatever, just having a jug of water, and it was like half rammed full of the mint, cucumber and lime, it tasted so good.
Wow.
Just different.
That's it. That is the water we need.
Mm.
Thank you, sis.
Cheers.
All right. Let's see who else. So Jenny, you can unmute your mic. And if not Jenny, then Jem, you can unmute your mic. So Jenny or Jem can unmute your mic. Jenny, Jem, I've allowed you to talk.
So
Raise it.
all it was,
There you go.
Hi, was that the shunga, I think it just charges up, you know, it's like a crystal. So it's just like a electricity really. So it just filters it a little bit more, but definitely it's all about plant power.
There you go. Yeah. So a lot of us, we're trying to recreate what the plant does. The chlorophyll, the melanin is able to water disassociate. It's able to split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen and restructure it from H2O to H3O2. And then, yeah, other people are trying to recreate that with machines, alkaline machines, all these alkaline machines that are so popular these days. Oh, this machine, you got to try this machine. How much does it cost? It costs £5,000. It's the best water for you to drink. All that sort of stuff. Absolute madness. All right. Anita, you had your hand raised? No? Raise your hand, family, if you want to ask a question. If not, we're going to finish sharp. All right, let me see if there's any questions in the Q&A. How detrimental is the fruit from the supermarket if you haven't got another option? Yeah, if you haven't got another option, then yeah, you're gonna have to go for it. Obviously, ideally would be organic, but these days, man, who's eating organic? I'm not even eating organic. It's hard to get organic. It's expensive. You just got to do what you can with whatever's available to you. So I'd say try and go to farmers markets on the Sunday. Sort that out, get your fruits and veg from farmers markets. And yeah, if you haven't got a farmers market, then just go to wherever's available to you and start juicing, man. Get your water from plants. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. All right, family, let me finish up and let me show you something before we go. I think this is really interesting. So what you know now, let me show you something. What you know about splitting the water molecule. Now check this video out. I'm just going to show this before we finish up. Where is it? Check this out.
With oil prices soaring and fuel protests spreading across the globe, it almost sounds too good to be true. A car that runs on nothing but water. And all kinds of water will do. River, rain or sea, they all make this car mobile. Even tea works. Japanese company Genpax unveiled the eco-friendly vehicle in Osaka. Once water is poured into the car's tank, an energy generator takes hydrogen from the water, releasing electrons that power the car.
The main characteristic of this car is that no external input is needed. The car will continue to run for as long as you have a bottle of water inside for you to add from time to time.
According to Genpax, a litre of water will keep the car running at a speed of 80 kilometres for around an hour. The company hopes to go into mass production with a Japanese manufacturer. With car users around the world looking for alternative fuels to power their vehicles, Genpax may well have the solution they've been looking for. Michelle Kalal-Al-Houri, Reuters.
Ooh, interesting. Now that was not a couple years ago. When was that? I think it was 1998 or something. Yeah, so this Japanese company was making these H2O powered cars, yeah, and yeah, they were getting a lot of traction, they were getting a lot of media attention, and all of a sudden, mysteriously, their business got shut down. I wonder why. Why did their business get shut down? And all of a sudden, we haven't heard from these people since then. I think you guys can do your research. I think it was 1998, but all of a sudden, we haven't heard from these people again. What happened to them? I don't know. But guess how they were powering the car? By splitting the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. That's how they were powering the car, by splitting the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen and then using the hydrogen as fuel. It's interesting that something like that would happen and then all of a sudden we don't hear from these people. Here's another one. So this guy on YouTube, he's well into cars and he was doing some research on water-powered cars. Very interested. He found out that there was this guy from America. And this guy from America, I think this one was, maybe this one was 98 and the other one was 2005. I think I've got my dates wrong, my years wrong, but one of them was 1998 and one of them was 2005. This one might even have been 1998. But listen to what this YouTuber says about this guy from 1998 who was making these water-powered cars. Listen to this.
I am fascinated with all things car, and I have made it my business to understand how all cars work, from combustion engine cars to electric motors. And recently I have started to try and understand exactly how hydrogen powered cars work. And as I did my research on hydrogen as a fuel source, I stumbled upon this story of a guy that made a water powered car like 30 years ago, and this huge conspiracy theory behind his death. It really intrigued me, so I delved deeper to try and find the truth. Was the car really the solution to all fuel problems of the future? Was Stanley murdered because of the technology? Let's find out.
All right, so this guy called Stanley, he used to make these water-powered cars, yeah? And again, just like that Japanese company, he got a lot of media attention and he was trying to get funding because he was like, we can utilize this. We don't have to use petrol. We don't have to use oil. We can literally utilize water. You know, all we need to do is split the water molecule and all this stuff. Guess what happened to him? He mysteriously died. He mysteriously died. And when you read his story, I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh, but I'm not laughing at his death. I'm just, you know I'm laughing at the powers that be. But yeah, it was, if you read his story, it's quite funny because like he was trying to get funding and just investors to invest in these projects, yeah. And there was a guy from, I think, Saudi Arabia that offered him £1 billion for the patent or something, and he turned him down. And then another investor invited him to one restaurant to have a talk with him about potentially investing in, these water-powered cars. And he took a sip, this brother called Stanley took a sip of the cranberry juice, which the guy offered him. And then as soon as he took a sip, he started to grab his throat and he ran outside and said, "They're trying to kill me. They're trying to poison me." That, I shouldn't laugh. But yeah, but that's how he died. He mysteriously died. But yeah, do some research on this brother. But listen to what this YouTuber says about him.
Let's talk about the invention that some say costed him his life, his hydrogen car. Firstly, the why. Why did Stanley create a hydrogen car? Funnily enough, it wasn't to be greener. You see, in 1975, Saudi Arabia cut the oil supply to the United States, and as a result, oil prices rose. As time went on, the US was running out of oil, and the lower their reserves got, the more expensive it got. This resulted in corporations going bankrupt.
That sounds familiar. Hold on. Wait, say that again. That sounds very familiar. Say that again.
Greener. You see, in 1975, Saudi Arabia cut the oil supply to the United States, and as a result, oil prices rose.
Oil prices rose.
The US was running out of oil, and the lower their reserves got, the more expensive it got. This resulted.
Interesting. Why does that sound so familiar? Interesting. Okay.
Oil prices rose. As time went on, the US was running out of oil, and the lower their reserves got, the more expensive it got. This resulted in corporations going bankrupt. The American automotive industry was busy dying, and the demand for cars dropped to almost nothing. So Stanley knew something had to be done. He got to work on a car that would no longer rely on fossil fuels, but would rather use an alternative fuel source. His plan wasn't just for the present, but he wanted to have a failsafe in place for when the second oil crisis hit the US. His idea was to make it possible for the country's economy to stay intact even if there was no oil. Stanley developed his hydrogen car It worked by splitting the water into its most basic forms, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom.
The car worked by doing what?
Well, Stanley developed his hydrogen car. It worked by splitting the water into its most basic forms, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. The hydrogen was then burned and the oxygen would be released through the exhaust.
Family, do we understand this? And yeah, so he turns up dead. But yeah, this is the information that they don't want people to know. That if you was to just split the water molecule, we could literally use the hydrogen for energy. And what is crazy is that that's what the plants do anyway. That is what the plants do. And not just the plants. There's something else. I can't put my finger on it. There's something else that does that. Help me out in the chat, family. The plants can split the water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. And there's something else that can do that. I just can't put my finger on it. I'll remember at some point, family. I remember. Help me out in the chat. Okay, people are trying to help. All right, there we go. There we go. Yeah, madness. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, hope the family's learned some stuff tonight. So yeah, what water should we be drinking? I think, well, what makes logical sense to you? You tell me. Yeah. All right, family. We've got some things coming up. Big up my VIP members. I'm halfway through this course that I'm doing with my VIP members, which is the Hidden Science and Natural Remedies. It's an online VIP course. We do a web class every Tuesday. We go through natural remedies for all of the, the common things that are out there. So we're doing this, and we're going to be putting on a webinar on detoxification. So I need to let the family know about how to detox. So we're going to be doing a webinar on detoxification very, very soon. Look out for that. If you're in any of our WhatsApp groups, we'll post a link. Family, if you're in one of our WhatsApp groups, you don't need to be added to another. But if my sister or someone else can post the link to the WhatsApp group so people can add themselves, if you're in one of them, you're good to go. Yeah. If you're in one of them, you're good to go. We're going to post the link to the Hidden Science of Detoxification very, very soon. Yeah. If you follow us on Instagram, the Hidden Science Academy, or you're on our mailing list, then you'll get the link sent to you. But yeah, the Hidden Science of Detoxification is going to be a free webinar. It's coming up to start the new year. When's the new year, family? When's the new year? Can someone tell me? We're going to be doing a new webinar to start the new year. When's the new year? Let's see if someone. Kizzy said 2024. Not quite. When's the new year? Spring. Yeah. What day is that? 21st of March. Thank you, family. Yeah, so we're going to be doing something around that time to start the new year. We're going to be doing the webinar, the Hidden Science of Detoxification, and it will involve detoxifying our system using water. Guess what type of water? Water from plants. Yeah, so that's part of our detoxification. We stop consuming solids, and then we start consuming water from plants and just allow that plant water to do what it's supposed to do inside of us, that structured water to really get to work inside of us and detoxify us. Yeah, so we're going to be doing that. Look out for that. Yeah, so make sure you're a member of our WhatsApp group. You'll get sent that, and then that will be the Hidden Science of Detoxification to start the new year. Yeah. All right, family. And we've got some other stuff coming up very soon as well. So we'll keep you posted. And yeah, large up my VIP members that are going through this course. Very powerful information. We went through parasites yesterday. That was very powerful. So yeah, that's going to be part of the detoxification webinar as well. Yeah. Yes. Kizzy's asking, can her mum be added to the WhatsApp group? Yes, indeed. Most definitely. We'll add. Private message me now your mum's number, WhatsApp number, and I'll add her to the group myself. So private message me. Don't put it in the chat for everyone to see, but private message me now, and then I'll add your mum to the WhatsApp group. All right, family. Thank you for staying right to the end. Hope you learned something new. Very powerful information on water and melanin. Please share this. When we put out the replay, please share this with your friends and family. Everyone really needs to know about this. Yeah, but we're gonna finish up right now, family. So thank you, everyone, and yeah, get ready for the hidden science of detoxification coming soon. Genius. What's the best water to drink for your melanin? Water from a pipe, a plastic bottle, an electrolysis ionizer machine, or a plant? I'm gonna let you put 2 and 2 together on that one. My name's Leo Marshall, and that concludes the end of PodClass 23. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. You're a part of history, trust me. And just remember, be the light you seek. Just shine, man. More light, more love, more life. 1.
Thanks for listening to Marshall's Melanin Podclass. To download this episode, go to thehiddenscienceacademy.com/podclass. Be sure to catch the next class on the 1st of the month. And if you like this one, please share it with your friends and family. If you're on Instagram, you can follow Leon Marshall at The Scientist Online. And remember, keep shining.
do my what them can't do enough. The genius.